The pattern is shifting. And if you've been following weather models over the past 72 hours, you've watched this develop in real time. What looked like a typical January setup on Saturday has transformed into something much more significant. Let me show you what changed and why it matters. 3 days ago, models showed a weak disturbance moving through the northern plains. Standard winter system, nothing remarkable. Then the overnight runs. Monday started showing amplification. By Tuesday morning, the European model had a deep trough carving through the central states. The Canadian model followed suit. This morning, SGFS run confirms it. When multiple modeling systems independently arrive at the same solution, that tells us the atmosphere is organizing around a dominant pattern. And that pattern is cold, persistently cold, with multiple opportunities for precipitation. Start with the current temperature distribution. Right now, it's 40 degrees in central Missouri, 39 in parts of Tennessee. South Carolina has been dealing with rain and temperatures in the 60s. Northeast Florida has seen 10 consecutive days of what residents there call perfect weather. Clear skies, low 70s, comfortable humidity. Meanwhile, eastern Colorado woke up to 17 degrees this morning. Wind chill down around 5. That air mass originated near Hudson Bay. It's been sitting over the Canadian prairies for a week, getting colder. Now it's on the move. The mechanism driving this is a blocking pattern breakdown. For most of December and early January, we had persistent ridging over western North America. That ridge acted like a wall, keeping Arctic air locked up in Canada. Now that ridge is collapsing. The jet stream is taking a more meridional flow, north to south rather than west to east. Picture it this way. Normally, the jet stream undulates across the country in relatively gentle waves. What we're seeing now is more like a sine wave with deep amplitude, a big northward bulge over the Pacific, then a sharp southward plunge through the Rockies into the central states. That southward plunge is our conduit for Arctic air. The timing unfolds in phases, and understanding these phases helps you prepare appropriately for your specific location. Phase 1 begins Wednesday. The leading edge of the cold front sweeps through the Dakotas and Minnesota Wednesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, it's across Iowa and Wisconsin. Wednesday evening, it reaches Illinois and Michigan. Ahead of this front, temperatures actually rise slightly. Southerly flow pulls mild air northward one last time. Chicago could hit 45 degrees Wednesday afternoon. Then the front passes and temperatures drop 15 degrees in 2 hours. Precipitation with this initial front varies by latitude. North of Interstate 90, this is primarily a snow event. South of Interstate 80, it starts as rain. The transition zone, roughly Interstate 80 through Interstate 90, sees both. And that transition zone is where forecasting gets complicated. Duluth, Minnesota sees snow beginning Wednesday morning, moderate rates by afternoon. This isn't a blockbuster snowstorm for Duluth. 4 to 7 inches by Thursday morning. You've seen worse. But combined with falling temperatures and increasing winds, travel becomes difficult Wednesday evening. The Twin Cities start with a period of sleet Wednesday midday, transitions to snow Wednesday afternoon, accumulations 3 to 5 inches. The road's Wednesday evening commute will be problematic. Plan accordingly. Des Moines sees rain Wednesday afternoon, changes to snow Wednesday evening around 7 or 8 p.m. This timing means the evening commute happens before the changeover. That's fortunate. But overnight, roads become snow-covered and icy. Milwaukee and Green Bay get interesting. Current models suggest rain Wednesday afternoon, heavy at times, then a sharp transition to snow Wednesday evening. When rain changes to snow quickly with temperatures dropping fast, you get instant icing on roadways. Whatever moisture is on the pavement freezes. This is when accidents spike. Chicago sits right on the line. Northern suburbs likely see more snow. Southern suburbs and the city itself probably see more rain transitioning late. Either way, Thursday morning travel is impacted. South of the Interstate 80 corridor, this first system brings mainly rain. Indianapolis, Columbus, Pittsburgh, rain Wednesday afternoon and evening. But notice I said first system. There's more coming. Phase 2 arrives Thursday. By Thursday morning, the coldest air of the season so far settles over the northern plains and upper Midwest. Morning lows Thursday across North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. The teens below zero are common. Some isolated spots could touch 25 below zero Fahrenheit. Wind chill is the story Thursday. Northwest winds sustained at 20 to 25 miles per hour. Gusts to 35. That drives wind chill values down to 30 below zero in many locations. 40 below zero is possible in the Dakotas. At those wind chills, frostbite occurs on exposed skin in 10 minutes or less. This isn't a weather to take lightly. If you must be outside, every bit of skin needs coverage. Face mask or scarf over your nose and mouth, goggles if you have them. The wind finds any exposed area. Schools across the region may cancel Thursday. That is the right call when wind chills hit these levels. Kids waiting for buses risk frostbite in minutes. Meanwhile, Thursday brings lake effect snow potential to the Great Lakes. And when I say potential, I mean significant potential. Cold Arctic air moving over relatively warm lake water creates instability. The lakes are still around 35 degrees Fahrenheit. The air mass at 5,000 feet is going to be around 5 degrees Fahrenheit Thursday afternoon. That's a 30-degree temperature difference, more than enough for robust lake effect. The wind direction matters enormously for lake effect snow. Thursday and Friday, winds blow from the northwest. That is a classic lake effect wind direction for Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. Downwind of Lake Superior, the Keweenaw Peninsula, and areas around Marquette could see 8 to 16 inches by Friday evening, maybe more in the most persistent bands. Downwind of Lake Michigan, western Michigan, from Muskegon through Traverse City, prepare for significant snow. 10 to 20 inches through the weekend isn't out of the question. Some localized areas could approach 2 feet. Eastern Lake Erie, the snowbelt east of Cleveland through Erie, Pennsylvania. You know this pattern. When the winds align from the west or northwest, you get buried. This setup persists through Sunday. Snowfall totals could reach 2 to 3 feet in the hardest hit areas, south of Watertown, New York, downwind of Lake Ontario. Similar story. Persistent lake effect Thursday through Sunday. Measurements in feet for some locations. If you live in these lake effect belts, this isn't your first rodeo. You know the drill. But for those unfamiliar, understand that lake effect snow is extremely localized. One town gets 30 inches, 5 miles away sees 3 inches. It depends entirely on where the snow band's set up. Monitor radar closely if you are in these areas. Phase 3 develops Friday into Saturday. This is when the cold reaches the Gulf Coast and southeast, and this is where the temperature drop is most dramatic. Right now, New Orleans is in the low 70s. Mobile is 74 degrees. Atlanta is 68. These are temperatures you'd expect in April, not mid-January. The cold front races through the region Friday. And I use the word race deliberately. This isn't a slowly advancing front. This is a fast-moving boundary with strong forcing. Ahead of the front Friday morning, expect showers and thunderstorms. Some of these storms could be severe. The environment shows adequate instability and shear. The Storm Prediction Center has already outlined a slight risk for severe weather from Louisiana through Mississippi and Alabama Friday morning into early afternoon. Damaging wind gusts are the primary concern. Tornadoes can be ruled out, particularly along the Gulf Coast where low-level shear is strongest. Behind the front, temperatures collapse. New Orleans goes from 72 at noon Friday to 42 by midnight. That's a 30-degree drop in 12 hours. By Saturday morning, New Orleans wakes up to 28 degrees. That is a hard freeze. Mobile, Pensacola, similar numbers, upper 20s Saturday morning. Biloxi, Gulfport, mid-20s. Atlanta drops from the mid-60s Friday afternoon to the low 30s Friday night. Saturday morning lows around 24 degrees. Birmingham, Montgomery, Jackson, Mississippi, all seeing low to mid-20s Saturday morning. This is the coldest air these areas have experienced in over 2 years. For many locations, it's the coldest since February 2023. The duration is relatively brief compared to what the northern states experience. By Sunday, temperatures moderate back into the 40s. But Saturday morning is the critical window. Florida gets hit harder than you might expect. The entire peninsula sees this air mass. Northern Florida, Jacksonville through Tallahassee and the Panhandle, Saturday morning lows in the low 20s. Some interior locations around Lake City or Gainesville could touch 20 degrees. Orlando area, upper 20s to around 30 degrees. That's freeze warning territory. Even South Florida isn't spared. Miami probably stays above freezing, but just barely. Low to mid-40s Saturday morning. For Miami, that's remarkably cold. West Palm Beach, Fort Myers, Naples likely see upper 30s to low 40s. The immediate coastline might stay slightly warmer due to the ocean influence, but inland areas could see mid-30s. Agricultural interests need to take this seriously. Citrus groves face damage. Strawberry operations need protection measures in place. This isn't a brief cooling. Saturday morning temperatures stay below freezing inland for 6 to 8 hours. Phase 4 looks ahead to early next week, Monday through Wednesday timeframe, and this is where forecast uncertainty increases, but potential for significant East Coast impacts exists. Another system develops along the frontal boundary that S currently draped across the Deep South. This system tracks northeastward along the coast. The exact track determines who sees what. If this system tracks close to the coast, we're looking at a potential nor'easter for the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Snow for the Interstate 95 corridor from Washington through Philadelphia, New York, Boston. Possibly significant snow. If the system tracks farther offshore, the heaviest snow stays inland. The Appalachians, the interior mid-Atlantic, and New England get the jackpot. If the system stays too far south or doesn't develop enough, coastal areas see mainly rain with snow confined to interior high terrain. At 7 days out, it's too early for specific snowfall forecasts, but the pattern is favorable. Cold air will be in place, moisture will be available, upper-level dynamics support development. All the ingredients are there. Now we watch to see if they come together properly. For those in Maryland who've been waiting 2 years for a significant snowstorm, keep watching this. The potential exists. But I am not going to promise anything yet. Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, same message. The pattern supports a significant event early next week. Details remain uncertain. Stay tuned to updated forecasts. Let us discuss what this pattern means beyond just the immediate systems. The broader atmospheric setup suggests cold persists through the end of January. Long-range models, both the American CFS and the European Extended Model, indicate continued troughing over eastern North America through at least the first week of February. That doesn't mean every day is bitter cold, but the overall pattern favors below normal temperatures and above normal chances for winter precipitation. For snowfall season totals, many areas are running behind normal as of mid-January. The Great Lakes region is 10 to 15 inches below average. The Mid-Atlantic is 8 to 12 inches below. Interior New England is 5 to 10 inches behind. This pattern shift could erase those deficits quickly. 2 or 3 significant systems accumulate substantial amounts. Now the practical considerations. What do you need to do to prepare? Let us be specific. For those in the northern plains and upper Midwest, dealing with the extreme cold Thursday and Friday, vehicle preparation is critical. Keep your gas tank at least half full. If you get stranded, you need fuel to run your engine for heat periodically. Your battery is vulnerable in extreme cold. If your battery is more than 3 years old, have it tested. A battery that's marginal in normal conditions will fail in sub-zero temperatures. Keep an emergency kit in your vehicle. Blankets, flashlight, extra batteries, first aid supplies, non-perishable snacks, water bottles. The water might freeze, but it's still useful once thawed. A small bag of cat litter or sand provides traction if you get stuck. Keep an ice scraper and snow brush that can reach across your windshield. Carry a small shovel. Home heating systems need attention. If you haven't run your furnace much this winter due to mild conditions, now is the time to make sure it works properly. Change your filter if it's been a while. A dirty filter reduces efficiency. Carbon monoxide detectors need working batteries. In extreme cold, there's temptation to use alternate heat sources. Space heaters, gas ovens, outdoor equipment brought inside, all of these can produce carbon monoxide. It's odorless, colorless, deadly. The detector is your only warning. Never run a generator inside your house, basement, or attached garage. Generators produce massive amounts of carbon monoxide. They go outside, at least 20 feet from any opening to your home. Every winter, people die from running generators in garages or basements. For the lake effect snow areas, snowblower maintenance if you haven't done it yet. Check the oil. Make sure the auger turns freely. Fresh fuel. Don't wait until you have 18 inches on the ground to discover your snowblower doesn't work. Stock up on ice melt if you use it, but use it wisely. More isn't better. Follow package directions. Some products damage concrete or harm pets. Know what you're reusing. Roof snow load becomes a concern with repeated heavy snow. Most residential roofs handle normal snow loads without issue. But when you get 2 feet, then another foot, then lake effect adds another 18 inches, weight accumulates. Flat roofs or roofs with low pitch are most vulnerable. If you can safely remove snow from your roof, do so. If you can do it safely, hire professionals. For the Southeast and Gulf Coast dealing with the Friday freeze, pipe protection is paramount. Most homes in these regions aren't built for sustained freezing. Pipes run through exterior walls, crawl spaces, attics, areas that rarely see prolonged freezing. Open cabinet doors under sinks on exterior walls. This allows warm air to circulate around pipes. Let faucets drip slightly on the coldest night. Moving water is less likely to freeze. Both hot and cold taps. Outdoor faucets need attention. Disconnect garden hoses. Drain the lines if you can. Cover outdoor faucets with insulated covers or just wrap them with towels secured with tape. It's not perfect, but it helps. If you have a pool or irrigation system, follow manufacturer guidelines for freeze protection. This usually means running the system periodically to keep water moving. Plants need protection. Tropical and subtropical plants, anything sensitive to freezing, bring them inside if possible. If they're too large to move, cover them. Sheets or blankets work. The covering needs to reach the ground to trap heat radiating from the soil. Remove the covering once temperatures rise above freezing. Citrus trees, if they are small enough, cover them. Larger trees, you can realistically cover. Commercial groves have sprinkler systems they run during freezes. The water freezes on the fruit but releases latent heat that protects the fruit inside. Homeowners typically don't have this capability, except that some damage might occur. Pets feel the cold. Bring them inside. If you have animals that can come inside, provide adequate shelter, dry bedding, windbreak, unfrozen water. Check on them frequently. Elderly family members and neighbors need special attention. Check on them. Make sure their heat is working. Make sure they keeping their homes warm enough. Some elderly individuals try to save money by keeping their home too cold. Indoor hypothermia is real. Room temperature below 60 degrees for extended periods can cause hypothermia in vulnerable individuals. Make sure they have adequate food and medications. Offer to shop for them so they don't have to venture out in dangerous conditions. A simple phone call or visit could save a life. Travel decisions need to be made carefully. Wednesday through Sunday, significant portions of the country face difficult to dangerous travel conditions at various times. If your travel is optional, consider postponing. If you must travel, build in extra time. Monitor conditions continuously. Air travel will see disruptions. Major hubs in Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, Cleveland all face impacts at various points. Airlines typically waive change fees during winter storms. Take advantage of that flexibility if your flight is affected. Check flight status before you leave for the airport. Don't assume if you haven't received a notification that your flight is fine. Check yourself. Airlines sometimes can notify passengers quickly enough when conditions change rapidly. For road travel, understand that conditions can change dramatically over short distances. You might leave your home with clear roads. 50 miles later, you are in a blizzard. This is particularly true in lake-effect snow areas. Roads can go from bare to snow-covered in a matter of miles. Interstate 90 from Cleveland through Erie to Buffalo faces significant impacts Thursday through Sunday. Interstate 80 through Pennsylvania, similar timeline. Interstate 70 through the Rockies Wednesday into Thursday. Interstate 64 through the Appalachians Wednesday night into Thursday. Black ice is a significant hazard behind the front. When temperatures drop rapidly, any moisture on roadways freezes. You can see it. The road looks fine, but it's slick. Bridges and overpasses freeze first. They re-expose to air on all sides and lose heat faster. Reduce speed, increase following distance. Avoid sudden braking or sharp steering inputs. If you start to slide, don't panic. Ease off the gas. Steer in the direction you want to go. Don't slam on the brakes. If conditions deteriorate to the point where you can see or the roads are truly dangerous, find a safe place to stop. A hotel, a restaurant, a gas station. Wait it out. No destination is worth your life. Truck drivers face particular challenges when multiple systems affect large regions simultaneously. Truck stops and rest areas fill up when everyone decides to wait out the storm. Plan ahead. Know where your alternatives are. Some states restrict commercial vehicles from certain roads during winter storms. Know the regulations for the states you are traveling through. Getting stranded on a closed highway because you didn't know the rules creates a dangerous situation for you and others. Let me address something that comes up every winter. The question of whether this is normal or whether weather is getting more extreme. This pattern, cold Arctic air plunging south into the United States, is completely normal for January. We've seen similar patterns many times. 1978, 1985, 1994, 1996, 2014, 2019 all had periods of significant cold and snow in January. What makes this one notable is the contrast with the first half of winter. December and early January were remarkably mild across much of the country, so the transition feels more dramatic, but the actual temperatures we reforecasting aren't unprecedented. They just cold. Real winter cold, the kind that used to happen more regularly. For those old enough to remember, you've seen this before. You've weathered worse. This isn't the end of the world. It's January behaving like January should. For younger people experiencing their first real winter cold snap, understand this is normal. This is what winter in the northern United States looks like. It's not climate change causing this particular event. It's the jet stream doing what jet streams do. Sometimes they allow warm air to dominate. Sometimes they funnel cold air southward. It's all part of natural atmospheric variability. That said, take it seriously. Respect the cold. Prepare appropriately. Historical normalcy doesn't make it less dangerous if you unprepared. The forecast will continue to evolve over the next several days. Specific snowfall amounts will come into focus as we get closer to each system. Storm tracks will become clearer. Timing will be refined. Check updated forecasts daily. The National Weather Service issues winter storm watches typically 24 to 48 hours before an event. Warnings when conditions are imminent or occurring. Those alerts exist for a reason. Pay attention to them. Local forecast offices have better detail for your specific area than any national outlook can provide. They understand local terrain effects, lake effects, elevation impacts. Trust their guidance. This is a significant pattern change, not a catastrophe, not the end times, just winter being winter, cold air, snow for some regions, ice for others, multiple systems over a week to 10 days. It requires attention and preparation, but it's manageable if you approach it intelligently. We'll continue monitoring and providing updates as systems develop. For now, Wednesday marks the beginning of the change. By Friday, much of the eastern two-thirds of the country experiences the coldest air of the season. Systems track through, bringing precipitation. Lake effect snow sets up for the typical areas. Another potential system early next week for the East Coast. Prepare accordingly. Stay informed. Look after vulnerable individuals. Make smart decisions about